Welcome to Trustee Talk, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and our guest today is Anderson Township Trustee and Second Vice President of the Board of Trustees, Andrew Pappas. I always look forward to you being on this show.
Thank you. I look forward to being here.
And actually, the pre-show is more fun.
If only they saw it.
If only they saw it. But anyway, good to see you again. It's been a while.
It's been a little while.
You're looking well. Life is good.
I was chewing shoes to survive the winter. I will say, this winter, as this is airing, winter's over officially. Today it's over. Everyone's out riding their bikes. But it seemed long.
It did. And actually, you know what? The first part of it wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
But the last part was
take that whole month
grueling.
of February and just wipe it clean.
Oh my God! I mean, it really was. It was the worst. And you know what? Luckily we didn't have nearly what the East Coast had. I mean, those people in Boston.
No, I wouldn't want to be in Boston.
Those people are still trying to. I saw one thing where the guy was just trying to find his car, and he had to dig a tunnel because it was higher than he was, and he found it finally.
I didn't tell him to move there.
No.
You can always move somewhere else.
That's what I figured too. So what's going on? I know you want to talk a little bit about involvement in the community and how people can get more involved, and because of the in the township. And there's a ton of things going on in this township. It's probably one of the most exciting, really one of the most exciting places. Right now with all the stuff you got going, the construction, all the new stuff happening. And you guys have to be looking forward to, it's going to be a busy summer.
It's going to be a busy summer.
And one that's going to be a little frustrating and exasperating, or whatever you want to say, for folks while they get around
navigate the traffic cones.
Yeah.
That's always a challenge in the summer here in Ohio, because given the winter, we only have a certain amount of time to do the road work. So the traffic cones come out, so please be patient. But I will say, what an exciting time it is in Anderson Township.
Oh, wow, it really is. I mean,
we have so much going on, and I'm not just saying it. Look around.
Yeah.
There's construction everywhere, and Beachmont Avenue is literally being transformed in front of our eyes. Some of the development is knocking down decrepit or ugly buildings and building new, nice-looking buildings. And during that time, we're going to be addressing some of the trying to disguise and soften the power lines with some landscaping and whatnot else. We have so much good things happening in Anderson, and more importantly, there's so much interest in Anderson. And what you're seeing now is, probably began about a year ago or so, maybe less. But you're going to be seeing more of that because there's so much interest in what's going on in Anderson Township. We were just voted best, most desirable neighborhood on, I believe it was an online survey for one of the TV channels. So I don't know if you realize that or not, but that's pretty significant.
Pretty good. No, that is significant, and rightfully so, because like I said, you are really, and I think this summer will be, because a lot of it's just been planning and that type of thing.
Maybe the summer of construction.
But the but I mean, people will finally start seeing.
You're going to see it.
Something happening, and that I think just generates much more enthusiasm and excitement.
It cascades to other developments.
Yeah.
For example, we have at Witt Road, we have a development that's been started that they're doing the Dewey's Pizza, and I believe Silver Ladle's going in there, a restaurant. I know that there's owners nearby that are now saying, hey, is it time for us to redevelop our property? That's the kind of cascading effect that it has. You're creating interest, you're pulling in new tenants, you're pulling in new businesses, and the person that's sitting on a retail development that may not be as attractive as it could, but the gentleman didn't have the interest to put money into it before, now all of a sudden he's got that interest.
Oh yeah.
And you're seeing more and more of that taking place. And during these redevelopments, a lot of times what people ask us, is there anything you can do about either A, the number of curb cuts, or B, which, Beachmont is a state route. Yeah. But during the redevelopment, that's when you can address that issue. If there was a property that had multiple curb cuts that maybe wasn't the best designed property, when it's redeveloped, then we can address, well, hold on a second, let's get these curb cuts in line with what the state wants, and traffic flow on Beachmont improves, and the overall look of Beachmont improves because when cars are moving, it's a good thing. Nobody wants to be on a parking lot.
No, no.
We had a problem late fall that there was some road work being done in Claremont County, and they had, by resurfacing the road, they had taken the traffic sensors away, and the lights weren't cycling correctly. And for a couple of weeks, maybe a week or 2 weekends, traffic was backing up from Cherry Grove almost past 5 or to 5 mile, past 8 mile for sure.
Yeah.
Well, those businesses suffer because people say, I can't go to wherever because traffic's too bad. Well, that was rectified quickly, but curb cuts affect that as well. So we have so much going on. There's interest in new neighborhoods coming in here, new raw land being developed. I mean, it's a very, very exciting time, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in office now. I mean, I'm saying that as a business owner and a property owner in Beachmont. It's amazing.
It's good for all the businesses.
It's nice to see empty stores or unused real estate being knocked down and redeveloped into usable, much more attractive real estate that drives up property values.
Yeah, I mean, it just, and you're doing, and a lot, as we said earlier, you just got a lot that's all of a sudden coming. I mean, Anderson Center alone is huge. I mean, what's going on there just in that little parcel of land, so to speak.
It's going to be transformed.
It's going to be transformed.
And the nice thing about the Anderson Center is I think it's going to be a draw for not only people in Anderson to come to, but it could even be a draw to pull people out of, Mount Washington, Hyde Park, Claremont County to come into Anderson for the entertainment complex that's going to be here, the movie theater, and they're going to need, a place to eat. They might need some other services. They might need to do shopping while they're here, and it's just going to be a very, very nice center of Anderson Township. And with the redevelopment of Kroger taking place and the corner but the out parcel very close to Bartles or to at the corner there at the Kroger Center is going to be phenomenal. And I think that people will notice a lot of vast improvements, tweaks here, tweaks there, to parcels of land that just make Anderson a much more livable place to be.
Well, I mean, I like I said, I think it's really exciting, and I think, and you got a kind of a major road project that's going to be hitting there at 5 Mile and Beachmont, which should be
interesting.
The summer should be fairly interesting there, but once it's completed,
when it's completed,
I'm
hopeful that
improvement
does something for that interchange.
The
flow of the interchange.
Yeah, because it's been a bottleneck.
It's been a bottleneck for a long time. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's either the first or second busiest intersection in Cincinnati.
I gotta believe it's very close if it isn't.
One or two.
Yeah.
For that, when you're designing an intersection, how many years ago was that done? Designed?
Oh yeah.
30, 40, 50 years ago? You can't foretell the traffic flow.
No, not at all. Not even close. And it's got to be, 5-10 times more than what they anticipated. I mean,
so that being improved with this new design, the continuous flow interchange, which people can go to our website, andersontownship.org, and search for it. There is a video actually that shows what the intersection will look like to kind of familiarize yourself with what it's going to be like, because it is going to be different going north and south on 5 Mile.
I think it'll be a big adjustment for people at first until they use it, because it is it's a departure from anything anybody has ever, short of the roundabouts. I mean, it's a departure from the normal traffic flow.
We'll just tease it with this. Go to the website, watch the video.
Yeah.
And it'll answer all your questions, because there's no way possible I can explain it to you here.
No way.
It's difficult at best.
No, really.
It's been designed by some very bright people, and we've been told that it will improve the intersection. So let us hope that's the case.
Well, and it's been done other places.
Yes.
So it has worked, but I think it'll be.
I haven't been there, but
I haven't either.
I suppose it has.
I'm told that.
I told it worked.
Yeah, really.
It's still there.
It is. The people move, but it's still there.
People. That's nice cut. No, the people have all moved out, but the intersection is still there, and it's quite lovely.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
We just have so much going on, and one of the things we do get a lot of requests from residents. We are, I wanted to talk about this for a moment. We are a community of roughly 45,000 people. But the one thing that came up not only in the survey of most livable or best neighborhood in Cincinnati, but one of the it kept coming up over and over again, is the sense of community that we have here in Anderson Township.
Oh,
I don't think people truly appreciate the real sense of community that we have here. You can go at other places and it might be quaint or nice, and you know, you might want to hang out there for a while, but there really isn't, there's such a sense of community, and people want to know how they can be involved. And there's a desire for them to give back to the community. And that's what I mean by Anderson is just different in a way that's not really quantifiable. There's a big desire on behalf of our residents to want to be involved with different committees, different ways the township is run, different ways, events that the township has going on. And I wanted to try to get some of that information out.
Well, because I think, and I think that is a key factor here, because I think people do value what they have in this community, and I think there's an interest in investing themselves where they can to be able to be a part of that and to continue that you know, quality of life that they enjoy here. I mean, it really is a neat community. No question.
There's just what I've found is people say, you know what, I really feel fortunate to live here.
Yeah.
And is there any way I can give back? And there's always, you know, you can give back through your church, schools, whatever, but people even want to be more involved with that. And we have, for example, we have several committees that we take applications for residents to become involved with. I'll go down the list very quickly. We have a Betterment and Beautification Committee, the Board of Zoning Appeals, very important. Economic Development Committee, which has become very, very important in Anderson Township, with maybe bringing some businesses here or helping us guide us in ways and things that we do that make it a more desirable place for businesses to want to be. We have a Green Space Committee. You know all the green space in Anderson. My gosh, you can't turn your head without seeing green space in Anderson Township.
That creates a tremendous value,
of course,
for people living here or people coming here.
We have a Street Tree Committee, which is helping to soften some of the industrial look of Beachmont Avenue or the commercial look of Beachmont Avenue. You know, if we can have that canopy of trees coming up over the street, it just softens, it takes your eyes away from some of the things that people, because I've had questions, can we ever bury the power lines on Beachmont Avenue? No. Only from the point of view is we don't have the money for that.
No, and the cost of that is huge.
There is a cost-benefit point where you're like, okay, I can't, it just doesn't pay. The other thing is there's two sets of power lines on Beachmont. One on the north side, one on the south side. One is high voltage transmission lines. You can't bury those.
No.
The other one is distribution lines. You could bury those, but there's so many different property owners that you would have to jump through so many hoops.
Oh, yeah.
You might get one section at one time and then it back up again, and then one section another time, and then you say, what's the point?
Yeah, you defeat the whole purpose of it.
So that's the Street Tree Committee. We have a Transportation Advisory Committee, TAC we call it, and we have a Zoning Commission. Now, we have on the website, our website, andersontownship.org, I'm plugging it, but you have a way to submit if you want to contact us and say, I want to be involved, where can I fit in? You can always give us a submission. And we're going to be at our spring meeting, we're going to be, we've already discussed it, but we're going to be finalizing some plans for revamping the website that you can go in and check your interests and then submit it that way.
Good.
We have so many different events besides these committees that all are made up of citizens, volunteer citizens, I might add, that sacrifice a lot of their time and effort to help better Anderson. We have a series of events, I'll just go down them very quickly, and others, but every spring we have the Great American Cleanup that we host here at Anderson Center. We have a pretty good turnout. It can always be better because people just want to get and help clean up the area. Mm-hmm. So we organize it here, we divide them up into groups, we give them an area to go to, and they grab their cleaning supplies and they go clean up a stretch of the river or a stretch of the roadway, whatever the case may be, a creek bed, whatever the case may be. That's wonderful because we get a lot of families that get involved in that. I love that. I help with that every year. We have a farmer's market. I don't know if you've been to it yet or not.
Yeah, it's a nice farmer's market too.
It's really
I would
gotten
think
good.
that's a draw from outside even for people to
It
come
sure
to that,
is.
because that's a unique market. We can talk about that some other time. But
It's a
yeah.
show in of itself.
It really is. Yeah, it really is.
I mean, and that has been going on for only a few short years
Yeah.
now. And it's grown and grown and grown, and people are so interested in it. Well, guess what? We need volunteers to help staff that.
Oh, sure.
That just doesn't happen by itself. So if you have an interest in saying, you know, I want to help with something and I like being out with flowers and produce and all the farmers market type stuff and fresh pastries, and I know there's always a food truck or two up there because I always happen to hit it. So I'm like, you know, that's
I wasn't going to mention that,
well,
but now that you mentioned that.
now that I mentioned
well,
it.
but you're looking.
That's enough. It was a long winter. There's not a lot of sustenance in shoe leather, to tell you. I chewed through several shoes.
Understood.
We have the 4th of July parade is always a
That's always big, yeah.
big thing in Anderson, and we need volunteers to help with crowd control, to facilitate the lineup of the vehicles, any number of things.
A lot of work on that
A
one.
lot of work on that one. We have the jack-o'-lantern. Did you hit the jack-o'-lantern walk, the Halloween walk?
I missed it. I missed it.
That
Were
was
you on it?
I was the head jack-o'-lantern. No, they carved my head. Sorry. We had Anderson Center. You were here that night, I believe. The Anderson Center was transformed. There were more, I would say it was the most crowded I've ever seen Anderson Center with just kids. I mean, we had face painters, we had people giving away candy, we had people had decorated their own jack-o'-lanterns that we had set up along the walkways out by the lake.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was wall-to-wall people. They were projecting it almost looked like a hologram of a jack-o'-lantern on the wall. We had music playing. It was a wonderful event. I mean, just family-friendly. It really brought people into the town center and made them have a sense of community. We need volunteers for that. Handling 1,000 or 2,000 people is a lot of work.
It is. Or just putting it together is a lot of work.
Putting it together is a lot of work. We have Make a Difference Day in Anderson. We have the Township History Room here.
Yes.
They take volunteers. And, you know, I highly recommend, if anyone has not come down here and at least walk through that room one time, I mean, it's really quite interesting.
It really is. It really is. And this whole center is really, you know, you've created a gathering place for so many things for this community. I mean, you got a central place for people to come and to do things, and it's big enough you can do a lot of stuff here, which a lot of communities don't have that. A lot of them don't have the benefit.
No, they
of that.
don't. And the nice thing was the foresight that they had. They also had they added the theater here that I was able to. We had a trustee workshop, I believe it was. We had on a Wednesday, and it happened to be during one of the local churches had a show, 101 Dalmatians.
Oh yeah.
So they were having the dress rehearsal here that day. So there was literally 101 kids dressed up as little doggies running around the town center, and it was wonderful because a lot of those residents, and they were most of them, I would say the vast majority of them were Anderson Township residents, had no idea the theater was even there.
Probably not.
It was sold out. It was wildly successful, and we provided a space for that church to come in and rent and put on a wildly successful, first-rate, Class A show for their parishioners. And, you know, you couldn't ask anything more than that. It gave you such a great feeling.
And you have actually a couple of theater groups that actually have,
we do. We have some theater groups that are here, full-time Beachmont players.
Yeah,
and
they do some
wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from them, but it's nice when residents, average residents can come in and see, hey, my tax dollars help pay for this, and it's being used.
Yeah, I mean, it gets a lot of use. That's for sure. And like I said, there's such a variety of things that you all do here. I mean, I love the summertime
Party in the Plaza.
Party in plazas are just excellent. I mean,
Wildly
and
successful.
And great crowds that come, and
You need volunteers for that.
Always have music and some
Good music.
concessioners and
Eric
things of
Miller
that
helps
sort.
put that on. The Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
helps put that on.
But it's those kind of things that really present a place for people to go, and it's here, and they don't have to travel 800 miles to do it, and you got nice parking and great facility.
Well, the parking could be better.
Well, I didn't want to mention that because I mean, I've been
We have, but I will say this: no matter how crowded I've ever seen any one event, it's very easy. We have the overflow parking up above. The walk is downhill, and there's a van to take you either to or from that we always
which
have
is
running.
helpful. Yeah,
Very
that
helpful.
helps a lot.
So you don't have to walk if you don't want to walk. The other thing I would say is that ties right back into, you mentioned Party in the Plaza. What a great example of the sense of community that we enjoy here. Now, I've traveled around different places, and you might have a neighborhood in a city that might have a block party or two or whatever. But that kind of stuff is our township block party.
Yeah.
And it's really,
And that is the difference, because a lot of communities don't have that kind of place where you can really make it a community event.
And they don't want to.
And they don't want to. They don't. Yeah.
and that's the nice thing about Anderson is there's a real desire for people to come together in this case, the town center for one of those parties. But there's other, for example, the 4th of July parade is on Beachmont Avenue. That's a way for the community to come together and, to see the looks on the kids' faces when they're getting thrown candy or they see the fire truck. For example, some other event I didn't even mention is the Christmas tree lighting.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to see that firsthand, to see the children's faces when Santa Claus pulled up in the fire truck. Amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
it was cold.
Well, yeah, but
it's okay. It's
but
Christmas
they don't
time.
care.
No, they don't care.
They don't care. Kids don't care. As long as
And our
Santa's there,
staff here, Steve Sievers worked his tail off on that. Kudos to him. We had a lot of staff helping with that, but I mean, it was cold, it was nasty, it was windy. The kids didn't care.
No, they don't care. They don't care. Well, and I think you've mentioned this in previous programs too. All of you do, but I think the fact that you do rely on these volunteers who on these committees, because they really do function. I think that's some areas that I've seen, they have committees, but the committees don't really they don't really, how do I want to say that? They don't really function. They meet.
Well, I understand what they meet. They might make a couple suggestions here and there, but the
the
rubber never hits the road.
You all really rely on those committees.
Absolutely.
For their input and for their guidance, and they do a lot of work.
And we take direction from them.
And yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the difference. I think to serve on one of those committees, they really do have a reason. I mean, and one that can make a difference.
You can really have, some people don't understand the impact you can have locally just by serving on one of these committees. It doesn't even have to be one of these committees. Just by volunteering to come down here for any one of these events or any of the events that are listed on our website.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many ways to give back to your community in Anderson. Hopefully, at some point when we have that park that we're considering doing down by the river, the development down by the river, we could tie that in with maybe the Great Ohio cleanup that happens on the river every year and help clean up the trash that tends to collect along the river.
Well, yeah.
That's just an example, but there's so many different ways. And when a lot of retirees approach us to how can I give back, because they obviously have more free time than a family, but even families, they're just like, hey, I want to help with X, Y, or Z.
Sure.
How can we give back? Because we've had such in another department that takes volunteers and also has a lot of events that I didn't even mention is our Anderson Parks Department.
Oh, yeah.
Now that is a separate entity, but still they have events, they need volunteers, they need people to help them with all the different things that they do. And there's just multiple ways. You can start on our website, you can go to the Anderson Parks Department website. I do realize that that's all web-based. You can call the town center if you want, you can call the Parks Department if you want. There's just so much information that's able to be garnered by the website. That's why I tend to throw people that way. But we have citizens don't have to feel like the only way for you to get involved is, march up here and complain or file a complaint. There's so many positive ways to be involved. And if you have a suggestion or you don't like the way something's being done, we welcome the feedback.
Well, and the other advantage too is you're taking, you mentioned retirees, but you're taking advantage of giving an opportunity for probably a lot of people who have a lot to offer in expertise just because of their past.
Sure.
That you can take advantage of that expertise.
Knowledge base.
And knowledge, that they have that can be really helpful. And it's a shame that people don't take advantage of that. Those people that still have a lot to offer.
Oh, I feel that we try, and you're right, and that might happen in other places. I feel that here through that sense of community, we really have stressed that we want your involvement.
Oh,
We don't shun anyone's involvement, and we welcome it. And sometimes you might get an idea that's like out of left field, but you know what? Sometimes you have to stretch the envelope to. I'm sure at one point, Party in the Plaza might have seemed like a kind of a wild hair idea, and now it's such a integral part of what goes on here in Anderson.
Well, you got a lot going on, and it's always I really do enjoy talking with you.
Are we out of time?
Yeah, we're out of time. We're running
There's
out
no
of
way
time.
we're out of time.
Well,
That
we
flew
are.
by so quickly.
Well, it does. It does. It's just your personality is.
I don't know if it's that, but it might be the hour we lost.
Well, it is. Could
Did
be.
lose an hour.
Anyway, thanks again, and good information and lots going on.
Go to the website. Go to the website. Go to the website.
And that's the answer.
Well, that's one of the answers, but we also have the town center here that you can come. It's staffed all the time.
They can come there.
Come here. You might see me.
Well, and that alone would be worth it.
I don't know.
It would be worth it. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. I look forward to your next visit, as I always do.
Oh, I'm sure. We'll have to pencil that one in.
And we thank you for joining us and sharing your day with us and making us part of your day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And on behalf of our producer, Nikki Bishop, and our director, Andy Crozier, and all of us here at ACTV, I'm Dick Murgatroyd, inviting you to join us again for our next Trustee Talk right here on ACTV. See you then.
Thank you.